Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio.
Welcome to the morning meeting, everybody. Right. Or should I say the whenever you decide to show up meeting.
I said the hip, hop, the hippie, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop, the don't stop, the rocket to the bang, bang, boogie, say up, up, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what the hell is to the dish, to the ripping, to the beat. I'm here, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. See, I am under me, and I'd like to say hello. To the back, to the wet, the red, and the blue, the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, say up, the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie.
At one point during the AC/DC song, I cleared my throat, and I heard it in my headphones, and I went, oh no, I hope I wasn't singing along to AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or Cake or any of the stuff that was playing before the show started. I hope I wasn't singing along. If I was, you got a special treat, because that was unintended. It's not a karaoke day or anything like that. It just... I had the headset on, the songs are playing, I like the songs, I start singing along with the song. I know that can happen. I don't think it happened, but I apologize. But that's a reason to tune in early, or right on time, I guess. The show didn't... Usually, I'll start the show 10, 15 minutes beforehand with just music playing, and today, I looked up, it was 9:58, and I wasn't set up. I was like, oh, no, I lost some time somewhere in there. But it's fine. It's good. I feel better. I think I sound better. I don't anticipate taking a lot of like sneeze and cough breaks today. Cleared my throat. Feel okay. I'm back. I'm going to talk about what I did yesterday. I think it just typifies me and life in Western New York. So today is September 24th. So it's the 23rd of September in Buffalo. And for the last like 2 weeks, we've been saying we have to close the pool. We have to close the pool. The filter's running constantly. Nobody's going in it. It's getting incredibly cold at night. We had a stretch there where it was really dropping down. Nobody was into going in the pool. Still looked good. It's not difficult to maintain it when it's not super hot. Like it's no mess. I mean, leaves are getting in there because it's fall. They're changing colors and dropping off of trees. It's right in the name. They fall right in your pool. That's what the cover's for. Get those stupid leaves out of there. So it finally reached a point, and part of it is that we did not have a cover. We had a new cover 2 years ago, or 3, whatever it is. You'll understand. I had a new cover. It's a standard, like the most basic above ground pool you can have. The 24 foot. It's great, but it was new in, I want to say 2020, maybe 21, something like that. So we had the cover that we bought and we used, and it's a 24-foot pool, and we bought a cover for a 24-foot pool. And that clearly is not the right size cover for a 24-foot pool. It was stretching way too thin. It's like, oh, do you need it to be 24? Well, this is like 24 and a half. I don't know technically what the length of it was, the diameter of it was. But the bottom line is we used it. It was stretched way too thin. I knew that was bad. And it got destroyed over the course of the winter. Now, the good news is the pool cover came with a, I want to say, 3-year warranty. So at the beginning of last year, when I took the cover off to open the pool for 2024. I took it to the store with the receipt, and they happily exchanged it for another one. And I said, I think the problem is that it's not big enough. I understand you're telling me that this cover is for a 24-foot pool, but when I put it on my 24-foot pool and it's like 24 feet and 6 inches, this isn't working. It's not dropping down far enough to comfortably sit on top of the pool. We're going to stretch it really thin again. We live in Buffalo. It's going to be covered in snow and ice. It's going to be stressed, and it's not going to survive. And guess what happened? Exactly what I said. They gave me the replacement because that's what they owed me. They owed me another one. Here, this thing sucks. Here it is again, right? And I asked them, I'm like, can I just take whatever it costs? I'll buy the bigger one. You give me the exchange. No, that's not how warranties work. I'm like, all right. They're like, plus, this is the right size. Okay. People have been doing this pool thing for years. I'm a relative newcomer to the art of pool covering and uncovering, so I guess I'll just believe you. We had a pool when I was a kid, same thing, but there's no way on earth that my dad's going to remember. Oh, yeah, we definitely used a 28-foot cover. He's not going to remember that. Maybe he would. I don't know. I didn't ask. Maybe he would have remembered. But more than likely, he would say, I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday, or something like that. That's probably what his reply would be. So I can navigate this world by myself. So I got the other pool cover, put the pool cover on. Same exact thing happened. It was terrible. It was destroyed. So at the beginning of this year, when we opened the pool in May, I did the same thing. I went back to the store, took the cover. Like, it failed again. I don't know. I've never been totally clear on how warranties work when they give you, like, it's a 3-year warranty. So if after 1 year the thing fails and you replace it, do we start over on 3, or am I still stuck on year 1? Like, what are you really promising me? That each individual one that you give me will last 3 years? It seems like that's what you should be saying. I know warranty and guarantee are not the same word, but what you're telling me when you say this comes with a 3-year warranty is you're not going to be back here for 3 years. You're telling me you believe in your product so much so that you won't see me. You're never going to have to deal with this warranty, right? If they were going to have to deal with it, they would not make it 3 years. Make it 1 year, make it 2 years. I don't know. But you're telling me the thing's going to last 3 years. At least that's how I read it. And it is not. So this time, when I took the thing back in, I got someone who was a little more reasonable, a little bit more open to the idea that maybe this wasn't the right pool cover for me, and agreed to just return it as defective rather than using the warranty. Let me have credit on the account. I used that to buy chlorine or something. Chlorine, I think. Or maybe the DE, the earth. The long D word, earth. Long D word. We've had the pool for 5 years. I don't even try to say it. I call it DE, or I call it earth, or I call it D-earth. Because I don't know what that... I'm not even going to try to say it. It's a big, long... It ends in acious. Diametaceous? I don't know. Whatever it is. All right, I was wrong about the throat thing. It's just the clearing, though. It's not. I don't feel sneezy or coffee today, so that's good. Although I'm drinking coffee today. Iced coffee out of a Lego Batman cup. There we go. So we got this time. We exchanged. I didn't exchange. I'm sorry. Spring. I return the cover. I take the credit. I buy chlorine, and now we need a cover, which is why we've spent the last 2 weeks, despite the fact that the kids are very, very rarely going in the pool, only when being forced. It's like the pool's open. Just go in it. It's not going to be open for much longer. Come on, use it. I want to play Fortnite. Like that kind of stuff you deal with. Well, I'm going to school instead of swimming. Stuff you would never encourage your kids to do. I'm going to do homework. I want to read. No, get in the pool. I'm paying for this filter to run for the whole summer. Get in the pool. My electric bill's insane. Get in the pool. Other than the electric bill, there's very little to the maintenance of a pool. I thought it would be this massive pain. I was warned, I don't know if you want to do that. It's really a struggle. It has not been a struggle at all. The first year, I didn't know what was going on as far as pH and all that stuff. I've gotten to the point where I don't You don't have to take readings. Taking readings, taking your water to the pool store and then asking them what they think you need. That's the same as just going in with your check engine light on, saying, I don't know, tell me what's wrong, do whatever, charge me whatever you want. It's the same thing. I can be completely wrong about this. I'm very wrong about lots of things. It's entirely within the realm of possibility that I'm wrong. But none of my kids, nor my wife, nor me, nor any of the guests we've had at our house over the summer ever thought about, mentioned, noticed the pH level of the pool water. People notice if it smells bad. People notice if it's dirty. People notice if it's green. People notice if there's stuff in your pool. If you keep the stuff out of your pool and it's not green and the water's clear, why do I need to measure pH? Why do I need to bring in a sample of water to the people at the store to tell me I need to, oh, you got to boost this. You need stabilizer. No, I don't need friggin' stabilizer. No one needs stabilizer. I'm sorry to pool people. Like hardcore pool. I'm going to lose all my pool sponsorships here. I don't believe you. I don't believe you that we need all those things. And as it turns out, it's like the contact lens thing. I've told this story 1,000 times. I feel like I've told it recently on the show. When I first got contact lenses, I believed what they told me. You need this thing. You need this little disc offsets the acidic nature of this, and you spray the base of this, and you got to get the pH at this number, and that's what will most effectively clean these things. Okay. Or you use saline solution, and then when the contacts don't feel good or work well, you just get rid of them and use new ones. That's the real way to do it. And that's how I feel about the pool, too. Like, let me know when it's green or gross. If there's stuff in the pool, I'm doing something wrong. Oh, it's green. Well, I guess I better, I don't know, drain the filter, maybe even open it up, hose it out, or just run it till it runs clear, and then put more DE in, and then see what it looks like tomorrow. The shock solves everything also. 2 bags of shock overnight. Almost always fine. It's not. I guess it's in the same way that I don't often cook with recipes. When I cook, I just kind of have a feel for it. And, once in a while, it doesn't turn out perfect, but I also don't have to measure 3/4 of a teaspoon of this and half a cup of that. Like, you know the general idea. You put it together, you make it work. If there's a problem, you fix it. That's how I feel about the pool and the water and the pH and all that stuff. They notice if it's cold, too. If it's super cold, they notice that. Really warm, they'll notice. Dirty, stinky, green. If you can avoid those things, you're in good shape. Nobody complains about your pool. So I don't use a lot of instruction. And I will say, this is probably the first time that I have closed the pool without watching some sort of video. Very often I'll do like a refresher, just real quick, like make sure I don't forget anything. These are the 4 steps you need to, like that kind of deal. I remember how to take the filter off, disconnect all that, and I know how to clean that all out. And I did that part's easy. And I know you drop the water down below the skimmer level and I always call it the eyeball, but the return, I guess it's called. You got to get the water below there, but not too much below there because you want it to be stable. So you take it out, then you just got a tin can in your yard in a Buffalo winter, and that's stupid. So you don't want to do that. But I know those things. And yesterday, I will say this, it felt so Buffalo to be closing a pool on September 23rd and sweating while doing it. It was absolutely, I didn't check the temperature, but it was like 80, right? What was the temperature yesterday? All right, weather 14221 yesterday. Past weather, Williamsville. That's going to be a whole graph. I don't want a graph. Yeah, I got to 83 yesterday. Oh, no, that's the 21st. Sorry. But we're in that neighborhood. Is this the right date? Yeah, previous 24 hours. There we go. Is this working backward? What are we doing here? Wednesday the 24th, Tuesday. Here we go. Okay, yeah. It was 76 degrees. Okay. So it's 76 degrees as I'm closing a pool. It felt like a day to open a pool, and I'm closing a pool. And I say my wife helped as well. We're both out there. But I had a bunch. The filter's all me. She helped with the cover itself because it's kind of daunting. First time we've ever closed the pool, maybe even first time we've ever opened the pool or closed the pool, when there weren't wind gusts. It's just every single time it's the day, because I don't know how you work, how your schedule breaks down, but with jobs and kids and baseball and concerts, and there's not a lot of time. So I was like, hey, we could close the pool Tuesday afternoon or next Thursday. We don't have a spot to do it in between. And that always lands us on like a windy day, or it's about to rain, or there's always something. There was nothing yesterday. It felt like a perfect day to open a pool. Instead, we were closing it. But it was beautiful to know that the cover is not just going to blow all over the place. It's the first time we've not had to fight against it. Like, you put it in place and it just sits there. Now, we had our struggles because, honestly, putting a cover on a 24-foot pool while not dropping it in the water and making it difficult and having to go back in. And then there's the part about, like, I didn't mind being in. I thought it would be easier to be in, but then how do you get out of the pool? Because I'm not getting out without the ladder attached to the deck. And you can't put the cover on if the ladder's attached to the deck. So we tried, like, putting it on most of it and then get out, then lift the ladder out, then tuck the other thing out. It was a little dicey. It took a little longer than you'd want it to. But we've got the 28-foot cover instead of the 24-foot cover, and oh my God, what a difference. Why did the people at the store not just agree with me? Because when I went and bought this cover just 2 days ago, we would have closed this thing sooner if I already had a cover. But I haven't had a chance to go get a cover. Every time I think to get a cover, the pool store is closed. They don't just sell these things at Walmart. They're selling Christmas trees already or something in the aisle where you would buy chlorine now. So good luck getting a pool cover in September at Walmart. So I needed the pool place, because they sell pool stuff all the time. It's all they do. It's right in their name. So I went to the pool place, got the thing, and I explained there's a woman working, and I said, all right, here's the deal. I would like your advice. This is so me. This is what it's like to deal with me as a customer. Like, I would like your advice. I'm going to tell you a story, and then I want to hear what you have to say, and at the end, I'm going to make my own decision, so don't be upset if what you say, if I don't follow it. And she just kind of laughed at me, like, all right, weirdo, what do you got? All right, well, I explained the whole thing. Like, last year I brought this in. I said I need a bigger cover, and she said, no, you don't. I said it might have to do something with the warranty, that it was easier to process the warranty. She's like, well, what some people have been doing is they've been buying a bigger cover. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. We just need a bigger cover, bigger than what we're dealing with here. So we got the 28-foot cover. I don't even know if the price was different. It was fine, but just a ton more material. This cover is 31 by 31. Well, that's going to cover my 24-foot pool. Also, 31 by 31 is a weird way to describe something that's round. You can just say round, 31-foot diameter, and that solves it. But it actually says 31 feet X, 31 feet on the box. I don't trust you people. So we did that. It was right around the time that we were putting the last clips on. So we put those clips on the cover. You cover the pool, and you put the clips on it, and then you run the wire with the little winch that tightens it up. I learned about the winch too. So we didn't watch any videos, and it was right around the time that we were about to put the last ones on when my wife said, hey, did we put shock in this? And I went, no, we didn't. No, that's something we were supposed to do right before we finished running the filter. We're supposed to run it with the shock. Well, it's too late now. So the options are we going to dump shock in this pool and then just, like pull part of the cover back, dump shock in and walk away? Or are we just going to go with nothing? And without looking anything up, we went with nothing. Because it seemed, because you're supposed to filter it, that stuff can just sit on the bottom, and then you're going to ruin your liner, you're going to bleach it, you're going to stain it, whatever. I don't want to do that. The bottom line is, when we open the pool in the spring, we're going to have to clean it before we swim anyway. So who cares if it's a little dirty? Who cares if it's green? Who cares about any of this? Now, had I remembered to do it at the right time, I would have done it, but I didn't. We're not undoing what we did. We're not reconnecting the filter. We're not doing any of that. So I was like, nah, never mind. And then we got the thing on, and everything's cool. We think. Except two problems. One, I now have the 28-foot wire thing with the winch to go around a 24-foot pool. That's too much wire. So I thought, should I use one of my old ones? Because that'll fit better. And then I eventually was like, oh, no, this one's new. It's not all messed up. It's nice and smooth. It's not, twisted. And I don't have to do anything with it. I just lay it out and it'll work fine. So I did that. But I didn't look up how to use that little winch thing. And I'm never totally confident with those. I have those ratchet straps for my truck. And I have to relearn how to use them every single time. You know what I'm talking about? They're like a nylon almost belt that you would use to strap something down. You're transporting a dining room table in the back of a pickup truck, and you don't want it to wind up on the thruway. So you strap it down. It's like mine are blue, but they've got the metal ratcheting, and you can hold them open in the teeth and they spin. But I just have to look it up every time. And this winch thing is not much different from that. It's like, I know, like, once it's working right, I know what it feels like. But I started thinking, like, that's a lot of wire. And a problem I've had with those ratcheting straps, and that I anticipated potentially having with this tool, this winch thing, is there's going to be too much wire wrapped up inside. And I'm not going to be able to get it tight because I'm going to run out of space because I've got too much wire. I decided to go for it anyway. I was right. Too much wire. Way too much wire. You ever try undoing one of those things when it's jammed because there's too much wire? I did. I tried that yesterday. You know when else I'm going to try it? Today. Because it's still out there, and it's still overly strung with wire. I went back after the fact. Once I was stuck, and I had to stop because I had to go to baseball practice, which was canceled, by the way, and I didn't know because I was busy because I was closing a pool all day. And I looked at the clock and went, whoa, we got to go to practice. So I got dressed and hurried up and got in the car and took my son to practice, and then nobody was there. And then I saw that 3 hours later, the thing was canceled. Or 3 hours earlier, the thing had been canceled, but I hadn't looked at my phone. So that was a nice, fun. You know the drive from, how delightful the drive is from Cheektowaga to Amherst at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Yeah, you definitely want to do that. And then turn around and come back. Good God. So anyway, sorry. I digress. I had to watch a video to figure out how to undo the mess that I had made of the winch with the wire thing. And it turns out I'm right about how to get the thing apart. It's just going to take me a while. And I had to go, so I couldn't do it. But the other thing I learned is that I'm doing the wire thing completely wrong. Because you wouldn't run out of room if you took the one end, put it all the way through, and then extended it. And then take the other end and put it all the way through and extend it. And now you've got it sticking out of both ends. And now you just have to get it to, like, kind of tight, hand tight. And then you twist it a couple times, and then it locks it in place, and you're done. And then you can cut off the extra. Did not occur to me. So I had it just going barely through, and now I've got all this slack that is not going to fit inside the winch, and now I've got a bunch of work to do to undo that. I might just cut it and use a different wire. I'm not positive. But then I'd have to run the wire again. So I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. I just didn't have time to do it, and then by the time I got home, we had the non-practice, came home, we had trivia last night, came home from that, now it's dark. So I didn't do anything with it. But here's my point. I watched the video after I attempted to close the pool. If I had just gone, hey, how do you use one of these winch things before trying to close the pool would be completely closed. It would be done. I would not have this hanging over me as the next thing I have to do when I'm done with the show today. I'm going to finish the show. I'm going to edit the show. I'm going to upload the show. And then I'm going to go outside and fight with this wire. Here's why I am married to my wife, I discovered. She found this amusing, I think. She at least smiled. Seemed like she might be humoring me. I even appreciate that. She humors me. That's good enough. I'll fall for it. She also, after we closed the pool, it's not quite closed, but it's closed. I mean, it's covered. It's covered. The clips are on it. It's not windy. The weather's fine. I'll get it taken care of today. It'll be all right. The only issue we ran into, is the return, which I will call the eyeball part. That thing unscrews. So I'm in the pool yesterday. Unscrew that part, and that comes out, and then the eyeball thing. And then we don't have a plug that fits the spot. Just doesn't exist. And again, we've had the pool for 5 years, so I've definitely solved this problem before, probably by plugging it from the outside, like getting under the deck and I think. I'm sure I've got a part for that. Maybe I've used duct tape. I don't even know. But she went in the house and also watched a video about how we were supposed to do that. And there's this part that's been laying around in these boxes for the whole time we've had a pool, or in these bins, whatever, where all the pool stuff is. I've never known what it was. It looks like almost a hard plastic credit card, which I guess are actually made of hard plastic anyway, but a little thicker than that. It's clearly for something. And it's essentially a key to reach in after the eyeball is removed from the pool. And I think you know what I mean, right? The part that shoots the water out. It's got a little rotating eyeball so you can point it where you want. After that part's removed, you use this thing. It's got there's slots inside. You go in there, you go twist. Use that as a key. It's essentially a key. That goes in, it twists, it pops that thing out, and now a plug will fit in it. But this video was watched after the cover went on the pool. After the ladder was removed. We're not going in the pool anymore. You have to be in the pool to do that part. Now, we may be able to take the cover partially off, reach down, dangling off of the deck and get it in there. But the overall point is that my wife and I have something in common, and it is not a good trait. It's not a good trait, but it helps explain the two of us being together. Both of us went, yeah, screw it, we can close a pool. And then afterward, went to look up videos to find out where we went wrong. Instead of beforehand going, hey, what's going on here? Like, if she was able to figure that out online, and I was able to figure out the winch thing online beforehand, we really would have solved some problems. But instead, it's like, this is what went wrong, and then we got to go to the post-game show, watch the film, and find out how stupid we are. So that's why we get along. I think that's a part of it. So all is well. Everything's going to be fine. But shout out to the kind woman yesterday, 2 days ago, who put up with me at the store when I said, look, I want your advice, and I might not use it. But please tell me what you think I should do. And she told me, and we got the bigger cover, and it's way better. It hangs way down. It looks silly compared to before, but it sits on the pool the right way. We've got the big dumb pillow in the middle of it. Looks great. So much better, so much easier. But the move is, I guess, think before you act. Measure twice, cut once, that kind of deal. Because right now, thinking about the solution to that plug thing, because it's sitting on the kitchen table right now. The plug for that spot and the key that I would use to free it up. But, and this is the only vision I've had in my head for the last, 18 hours since I found out about this. I would have to train myself. This isn't real, but this is like the fantasy version of it. I'm picturing myself as Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible. Train myself to hold my breath for a full 3.5 minutes as I shoot underwater with goggles on and like a timer. Doot, 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 doot. I don't remember which Mission Impossible movie or movies the underwater safe type of scenes have been in. Like, you got to get in here and unlock this. There's the one, I don't remember which of the movies, where it's like spinning around, like a circular, and he's got to catch on to the right spot and then undo something, whatever, all while holding his breath. And that's how I pictured myself. So I don't often picture myself as a superhero. Ethan Hunt's not a superhero, but he kind of is. And I've been picturing myself underwater, like saving the day, like under the pool, probably with like a miner's helmet. I guess it'd be more like a scuba, like a light on my head. And like the key in my teeth. As I maneuver. I've been picturing that for a while. We're watching too many movies lately. feel like there was one final point I wanted to make about that. There was a reason. Oh. The overarching thing of this is, in this era, in 2025, I can do anything. Not anything, but just about anything. So can you. With the help of YouTube. Now, it might take you some fighting through. And the toughest thing about it is when you don't know the names of the things you're talking about. Like trying to replace the part of the lawnmower that like handles the auto propel thing. You know, there's, at least on mine, there's the squeeze handle that keeps the thing running, keeps the engine going, keeps the blade moving. But then there's the other one that moves it forward, like it's the front wheel drive part of it. And that thing broke. And just trying to figure out what that's called and how to do like the toughest part is knowing the names of stuff. When I'm trying to think, there was a macerator, I forget how it's pronounced, but pump, there is one under the sink in the basement, and that was shot, and I had to replace it. I'm not paying somebody to do that. I can figure it out. I just got to watch on YouTube, but not knowing the names of parts made it real difficult, and that's the toughest thing. But you can do anything you want, any like home improvement type of stuff. The information is all out there. Bad news is there's no barrier to entry. So there's horrible information out there too. So you got to kind of watch a bunch of them, decide who you believe, decide who you trust, decide who seems to be speaking the same basic language as you are with regard to the project. But everything is out there. You can do anything. Like, you think you can't change an electrical socket? Wrong. I hope you watch the right video first and not the wrong one. But it's all there. But again, I would recommend doing it before the project as opposed to after, let's say, you put a cover on a pool and then discover what you should have done underneath said cover. It's a little late for that. We could back it all out and start over, but the fact is, I've never seen this key credit card looking thing before. Or I mean, I've seen it. It's been in the box. I just have never known what it was, and we've gotten along just fine. Nothing has been destroyed because we didn't plug that particular hole in the exact correct way. So next year, we'll remember how to do it. Maybe. Or we'll just make it up. You know what? That'll be the thing that we know next year. We'll know that one. We'll get it right. We'll screw something else up that we forgot about, but any of the errors we made this time, we'll correct next time, and that's life. That's life. We'll be fine. I've talked too long already. I'm going to take a quick break and come right back. It is Writer Radio. It's episode 173. We got some things to discuss. We got some things to figure out. But I've got some music to play. I'm going to hit this thing that says 80s mellow. Oh, those songs all went away. Well, that's too bad. Except for The Promise by When in Rome. And Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House. Oh, and Always by Atlantic Star. So I've got 3 of them on here. Nah, not doing that. Oh, how about this? You know, instead of playing a song, I saw this last week or over the weekend. Maybe it was Friday because the Bills played last Thursday, right? That was the Thursday game. Colin Cowherd, who is, I don't even know what he's on now. Is he still Fox or is he just an independent thing? I'm not positive. You know, longtime ESPN, longtime radio. He's good. I don't listen to him all the time. I don't watch him all the time. But he comes out with some good stuff. And when he spends nearly 6 minutes talking about Josh Allen being incredible, I tend to like it and listen. And I saved the audio from it. This is from 5 days ago. So, is that Friday? Yeah, I'm sure it's from Friday. They played Thursday night. Josh Allen was great again. Bills won again. I want you to hear, because honestly, he's saying a lot of the same things I've been saying. In fact, I think last night I was saying some stuff. I was in a conversation about Josh Allen with my good friends John Fuller and Dan Cave. And I think Cave said, "Did you hear what Cowherd said? Because it sounds a lot like what we're saying." And I was like, you know what? And I saved that audio. I did hear it, and I haven't played it. And I don't know, like, what the rules are. He's doing a show. I'm doing a show. It's not at the same level. His is a higher production values type of situation. Big network type of thing. Whether he's network or not, he's just a big name. I'm a guy at my house. Like when you see something, it says, video courtesy of or audio courtesy of. Courtesy of in my case, just means stolen from. Because I'm not asking Colin Cowherd if it's okay to play 5.5 minutes of audio of him talking about Josh Allen. I know that I could play like 10 seconds of it, and that's fine. I'm not positive that playing, actually, it's 5 minutes, 55 seconds of it is okay. But I'm just going to use the phrase everyone else uses that I think makes it okay and say this audio is courtesy of Colin Cowherd on whatever network his show's on, if it's on a network. I don't even know. But I want you to hear it. Instead of playing a song, I'm going to play 6 minutes of Colin Cowherd talking about Josh Allen. And then maybe I'll play a song, and then I'll be back. All right? You with me? We good? Thank you for listening to Writer Radio.
Sometimes you're watching history and you understand it. I remember being a kid and watching Hank Aaron break Babe Ruth's record with a home run, Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. And other times you're watching history and you're not necessarily aware of it because it's not just statistics. You are watching something that really we've maybe never seen. And I felt that watching Josh Allen last night, and that's where I'm going to start the show today. So if you didn't watch last night's game, the easiest way I would describe it is the team with the less talented quarterback that makes more mistakes lost to the team that has the much more talented quarterback that makes no mistakes. The Bills last night scored 31 points and had no turnovers. Second team in league history to start the season with 3 straight games, 30-plus points, 0 turnovers. Josh Allen, through hard work and coaching, has eliminated his only flaw, reckless. And what's remarkable is my entire life, I said this on the air many times, it's the one thing I didn't think coaches could mostly coach you out of. Because anybody I ever met in high school that was reckless at 17, if I saw them again 30 years later, they were reckless at 47. I always thought it was a DNA thing. I always thought it was just kind of a personality thing. Reckless guy early is reckless guy at 55 years old. And it shows you how humble and also how self-aware Josh Allen is. Since the start of last season, 48 touchdowns with Josh Allen, 8 giveaways. The Bills have not lost the turnover battle in a season and a half, 25 games. I mean, and he doesn't play favorites. Everybody eats. 9 different guys caught passes. I mean, I loved Andrew Luck, and we all love Brett Favre. You couldn't get the reckless out of them. I mean, Matt Stafford, the year he won the Super Bowl with the Rams, did you know he led the NFL in interceptions? Eli Manning twice beat Tom Brady. 3 times he led the NFL in picks. So I've always loved guys like Elway, who's aggressive, and Peyton Manning that's aggressive. But you can't eliminate the interceptions. To have this much talent and horsepower, and Josh is the biggest, strongest, best arm to have all this horsepower, and yet be willing to put on restrictor plates is insane. You are watching history. This makes absolutely no sense. I mean, the quarterbacks that we all love, we love the gunslinger part. And then Josh Allen came into the league, and he was a bit of a gunslinger. But smart enough, humble enough, self-aware enough, realizing that's not the sport. Brady and Mahomes didn't throw picks. And so Josh Allen, with all that horsepower, with that V12 engine, it's like, now I'm going to go electric. I'm not going to do that. So he's like similar to a prodigious home run hitter that changed his swing, doesn't hit the ball quite as far, but now doesn't strike out. 2025 Josh Allen shouldn't exist. You should not be that gifted, that fast, that talented, jump over linebackers, yet he never throws interceptions. Because usually, I mean, if you have a great voice, you're singing in the car, you're singing in the shower, you may be singing professionally. You want to show it off. Usually 6'6" guys with that engine and that ability, I mean, they are letting it rip. Josh, you get all the upside and you get none of the downside. I mean, listen to this. His last 12 games, including the playoffs, 30 total touchdowns, 1 pick. That makes no sense. His ability to control, have the discipline to not just, I'm going to let it rip and throw it through that coverage is unbelievable. And last night, it may not be as visually impressive, but he is so mature now. He is so thoughtful. He is so paced. but you still get the big engine. And he talked about, like last night, you're like, oh, why isn't Buffalo putting them away? It's a different Buffalo team. The previous iteration of Buffalo was scoring 35 points. They couldn't beat the Chiefs. Like it was winning a lot. It wasn't winning the games that mattered. To win the games that matter, you can't turn it over. You got to pull back the horsepower a little bit. Here's Josh after.
I think there's obviously times throughout games where the situation dictates you to maybe put the pedal down a little bit more. And there's some times where it's like, hey, just take it easy, relax. I wouldn't say play the long game, but just understanding where you're at, within the situation of the game and not trying to force anything. We saw that tonight, just kind of staying as calm as possible, and just being prepared for any situation that we were going to be in.
They look a little bit more like Philadelphia, don't they? They just kind of squeeze you, and eventually win the turnover battle and make 2 or 3 big plays late. That doesn't mean Josh can't be a superhero. He can't put on the cape. But he is, right now, this is a Super Bowl team. I don't love their defense, but not every Brady team had a great defense. You remember that Nick Foles Super Bowl. I mean, not every team that gets to that game has a great defense. We all have to give a little once you pay the quarterback a lot of money. But what you're seeing now feels like a Super Bowl winning team. So smart. Horsepower without the mistake.
This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com.
All right, let's do this. Writer Radio continues. Episode 173. No guests today. I feel like today's probably the day I'll record a UB football podcast with my good friend Scott Wilson. Bulls take on UConn this week, and we shall discuss, and that'll be available on the UB Bulls Insider podcast feed. That is separate from what we do here at Writer Radio. Scott's on with me twice a week, but we also record there. He's on Mondays and Fridays with me. We record a podcast during the week. We do games typically on Saturdays, at least this time of year. The games are on Saturdays. Eventually we'll get to midweek match-in. But that's like a good 4 shifts of radio magic that I spend with our good friend Scott Wilson on a weekly basis. During the break, I was playing some songs. I reloaded my whole... I have a page full of, on my little touchscreen board thing, page full of songs. Then I have a page full of recurring songs. The songs one is for, hey, I just thought of this. I want to drag it in for today. And then recurring is just like, these are a bunch of songs I like that fit into the show pretty nicely. And then I added one that's called 80s/mellow. Just because every now and then I want to hear Crowded House. Every now and then I want to hear Brilliant Disguise by Springsteen or The Promise by When in Rome. And why not share that with you? So I've got a whole page of that now. I was kind of reloading that because I screwed it up and lost all those. Those are back. I've now got like 20 of those ready to go. You'll probably hear more of that today in the final hour here. I was doing that. And then the other thing I did was I don't want to dwell too much on the Jimmy Kimmel thing, but he came back last night. And again, to restate my position, I thought it was crazy if he was being fired over doing his job. I don't think it's crazy at all that they took a week off. Like, all right, let's let this thing chill a little bit. From a network standpoint, it's great because you got to just let people hang out and talk about this guy for a week and then announce that he's coming back on the air. You announce it on Monday. He comes back on Tuesday. And I just thought during the break, I should see what ratings look like. Like they do that. They do overnight ratings in television. I want to see what that looks like. But wouldn't you know it, the ratings, like I Google overnight ratings Kimmel. And nothing is about how many people watched it on ABC. It's about YouTube. Like the first story, what is that? Turn this down. All right, there we go. The first story that I come across, the headline, Jimmy Kimmel's return monologue on way to breaking host's YouTube record. It's about YouTube. He doesn't need ABC. It's easier to have ABC. It works better to just have ABC and have the job. But his job, his success, is determined in large part not on the viewers on ABC, but on the views on YouTube. Here's the art. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. Jimmy Kimmel's return monologue on way to breaking host's YouTube views record. Of course it is. He's a national story. And then he goes away for a week, and then he comes back, and then it's on YouTube. And I'll be honest, I did not remember to turn on the show to watch him return. But when I did when I did turn on YouTube last night, I wanted to watch Kill Tony from the night before. But the first thing that it presented to me, because algorithms work this way, was, hey, what about Jimmy Kimmel? You want to watch the Kimmel monologue? I was like, yeah, yes, I do. And I watched it, and I'm not going to play any of it. It was good. It was good. I thought there was some fake crying. I don't know if you're allowed. I mean, yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want, right? Isn't that the whole point? Free speech. It seemed that seemed forced. I thought it was really well done, well written, well executed. I just thought a little over the top with the schmaltz and the tears that, I don't know. Like, you can't tell me that was completely spontaneous. You can't tell me that when he started talking about, a lot. I don't know if you saw it or didn't. So I'll just briefly. I thought super cool, super funny, super good line that he basically walked out and started with, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, which I think is great. I pick up where we left off. And I like that they did exactly 5 days off. So it was like, I'm going to do a Tuesday show. Just a Tuesday late. I liked all of it. I think it all played out great. I didn't like it when I thought the show wasn't going to come back. And not because I love the show and not because I watch the show often. Just because in America, you shouldn't lose your job for saying things, especially things that are not harmful or destructive, as these were not. He made a joke about the president. The president didn't like it. The FCC guy is on his side. They're trying to force him out. It seemed like it might have worked. It didn't work. And much of the first half hour was monologue, basically. And much of it was about that, about free speech, and about how that's not American, and about finding instances of Trump talking about how important free speech is. And the current FCC, I'm going to say director, but it's not, I forget what the title is, administrator, who has, been quoted and has been compared to like a mob boss. We can do this the easy way or the hard way of getting rid of Kimmel, like all this stuff. It was a lot about that, and I love that. I am very, very pro-free speech, which includes the Charlie Kirks of the world. Say anything you'd like. And then we'll decide if we want to listen to you anymore. And that's all. That's all it is. The government shouldn't decide who's on late night TV. Can we agree on that? And that was the general premise. So I loved all of that. But then he got into a thing about how Charlie Kirk's wife announced, apparently, that she has forgiven the shooter, which it's nice of her to do. But he got all very emotional about that. And I'm sure much of the week has been emotional. And I'm sure he was touched by it. But you can't tell me that in the plan wasn't, I'm not going to cry until the 18-minute mark. When that part felt fake and weird to me. Overall, I thought it was a really good presentation. I thought it was good. I didn't stick around afterward. I just watched the half-hour monologue thing, interrupted with commercials on YouTube, despite the fact that it already happened. But I'm a part of this breaking the record for YouTube views. All right, I'm going to read the thing. Kimmel's emotional and highly anticipated return to ABC is racking up views, might become the most popular Jimmy Kimmel live monologue on YouTube. Of course it will. The story starts. Nexstar and Sinclair really missed out. Those are the two broadcast companies that did not allow the show to air last night. They'll be back. They'll be back, too. It's cool. Way to grandstand. Awesome. The affiliate groups boycotting Jimmy Kimmel Live missed airing and selling ads on what could become Jimmy Kimmel's most watched monologue in many years, if not ever. His return to ABC Tuesday night featured a nearly 30-minute show opening that included the host's emotional monologue, where he thanked those who supported him during his suspension, attempted to clarify his controversial comments about Charlie Kirk, and most of all, passionately defended free speech. So far, the show's official YouTube account has clocked the monologue video at 8 million views in 9 hours. When was this posted? 6:25 a.m. I bet it's way beyond that. That was at 6:30 in the morning, and now people are up. All right, now I got to look this up. I got to see where it is on views. I pay attention to YouTube views now. Jimmy Kimmel YouTube. Jimmy Kimmel Live. It's got 20.8 million followers. I don't know if it went over. They had a thing contained within there about hitting 20 million followers, him and Guillermo. And they had glasses on that said 20 million. Like the glasses you would get for, it would say 2026 when we hit New Year's Eve. It was that type of thing. 21.1 million subscribers. So I don't know if that was new, if that happened, like they went over 20 million. I bet it is. I bet those numbers skyrocketed over the course of the last week. All right, yeah, this video now shows 10 million views. So 10 million views, it's been out for 12 hours, something like that. Yeah, people are going to watch. I watched. It was good. All right, I want to get back to the story. Kimmel has many short clips from his show of sketches and guest interview segments that have racked up tens of millions of clicks over the years, but Tuesday night's monologue is looking like it might set a record in terms of opening monologue videos. Of course, Kimmel's current most-watched opening monologue is from another sober occasion, Kimmel discussing the details of his son's birth and heart disease from 8 years ago. Oh, yeah, that's right. That has 14 million views. Second place is his breakdown of the Will Smith Oscars slap 3 years ago. Other popular monologues include Kimmel discussing the mass shooting in Vegas in 2017, Kimmel reacting to President Trump's election in November. Given that Kimmel's latest racked up roughly 1 million views an hour during the wee hours of the morning, it certainly seems like that last night's opening could break the host monologue record quite possibly by the end of the day. Sure. He usually draws about 1.6 million viewers on ABC, but according to the New York Times, the network is expecting to generate far more than that in the official ratings, even with the Nexstar and Sinclair boycotts, which account for roughly 20% of stations. His monologue is largely being hailed as meeting the moment. While he stopped just short of apologizing for his comments about Kirk, something many on the right were demanding, he attempted to reach out to his detractors by thanking the many conservatives who criticized the Trump administration's effort to push him off the air, as well as gave very sincere-sounding praise to Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, and expressed some hope for some measure of increased bipartisan unity in the wake of recent events. Here is a quote. "Look, I never imagined I would be in a situation like this. I barely paid attention in school. One thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. So I'm glad we have some solidarity on that from the right and left and from those in the middle like Joe Rogan. Maybe the silver lining from this is we found one thing we can agree on. Let's stop letting these politicians tell us what they want and tell them what we want." It was good. It was very dry and the jokes were sparse, but that's what the moment called for. So I think he nailed it. Aside from what I perceive to be, I'm going to say fake tears, but forced, planned. I just don't think there's any way he didn't go into it saying, and at this point, that's when I'll cry. Never bawling, just a very serious face with the kind of choked up thing that anyone could do. So I'm not saying he faked it, but I kind of think he faked it. But I don't think he faked it, but he might have faked it. It was good. It was good, but that little part in there was over the top. The part about stopped short of apologizing. In what world is this guy going to apologize for something that clearly was just misunderstood and misconstrued by people who wanted to misconstrue it? People wanted to pretend that he's a bad guy who's laughing at the death of Charlie Kirk, and in no way did he do that. If he did that, he'd be off the air. This would be a real thing if he made fun. The fact that you don't get a joke doesn't mean that you get to interpret the joke however you want and then complain about the joke and then get the results that you want and have somebody removed from the air. And that was the effort. That's what was attempted by the powers that be. The attempt was to incorrectly portray his comments as being pro-shooter or anti-victim or something, when really it was all, and his whole show is, look at this guy, he's a fraud. And the guy is the president. He's talking about the president being a fraud. And he called the president a fraud. Like, that's all it was. It wasn't about Charlie Kirk. It was about the president's reaction and his acolytes' reaction to this and trying to make it into something that helped them politically. That was the point. That couldn't be more correct. That's undeniable. So what's he going to apologize for? So he didn't apologize. There's no apology. I feel like that he could have said the exact same words again last night, and they still would have been true. He started with, as I was saying. He could have just said, as I was saying, and then started over and said the same exact words again, and then went into the free speech thing. And it still would have been correct. Still would have been fine. Probably would have been better. All right, so here's the Newsweek story on the same thing. Jimmy Kimmel's emotional Kirk monologue lacked apology, comma, conservatives say. Right. Jimmy Kimmel returned to late-night television Tuesday night after a 6-day suspension that sparked national debate over free speech, media pressure, and political influence. In an emotional monologue, Kimmel addressed the controversies surrounding his comments on the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, clarified his intent, and thanked both supporters and critics who defended his right to speak. But conservative voices criticized Kimmel, saying he did not offer a full apology. This should be great. Where are they? There we go. Conservatives see no apology. Dana Loesch. Oh, my God, Dana Loesch. You know why I know her name? You know why I know how to pronounce her name? She, her national show came to WLVL the day that mine went away. She didn't replace me in the exact time slot, but she came. Oh, no, she was on like a week earlier. But she's like one of the new shows on WLVL. You can tune in, I think, at noon today and hear her. So this is, okay, this is perfect. This is really perfect. So I wonder why I'm not welcome at WLVL anymore. And Dana Loesch is there. Weird. Conservatives see no apology from Jimmy Kimmel. Dana Loesch, the Trump-supporting voice of gun rights activism, was not impressed by Jimmy Kimmel's return. Her quote, this is a tweet. No apology. He wasn't making a joke. He outright lied about the killer because he hated the politics of the victim. Jimmy Kimmel can pound sand. That's just stupid. See, that's the outright lie. What was the lie in the quote? The quote that got him was about how MAGA is attempting to do anything they can to make sure that this guy is not associated with them. That's the quote. And that's a paraphrase of the quote. It's not a quote. I'm misusing the word quote. But that was the point. The point was, this thing happened. Now watch how these people react. Look what they're trying to do. Look how they're trying to use this for political gain. That was the quote. I don't like this woman. I hope ABC continues to hemorrhage money on this barely scraping a 4-share loser. Great. That's idiotic. Like, that is, to me, and I get what she's doing. I get what talk radio is, what conservative talk radio is, what right-wing Trump supporting. I get how it works. But you're lying by calling him a lie. Either you're lying or you're stupid. You're one or the other. And she doesn't seem especially stupid in the limited amount of time I've heard her, so she's lying. Talking as though, and also, anyone who brings up ratings at this point is just living in Trump world. When I looked up the story to find out about ratings for Jimmy Kimmel, it was like, here's how many YouTube views he has. That's where ratings are now. That's the important part. Is your information getting out there? Yeah, of course, ABC would like it if you tune in at midnight to watch the show, or 11:30 to watch the show. But the bigger deal is the lingering effect. There's now a half-hour video on YouTube that's got 10+ million views in 12 hours, and it will continue to do so. Meanwhile, there's a woman talking on the radio on WLVL. She doesn't work there. It's a nationally syndicated show. But she's on the radio, I'm sure today, trying to get people to listen to her based off of Kimmel trying to get people to watch him, based off of Trump trying to get people not to watch Kimmel. It's all insane. But for her to act as if she's the truth teller, Jimmy Kimmel's the liar, it's either insincere or it's stupid. It's one or the other. It can't not be. He outright lied about the killer because he hated the politics of the victim. Nope. That's not what happened at all. You just don't understand jokes. You don't understand commentary. And you're blissfully ignorant to the point where you're continuing it, continuing the conversation by lying and then bringing up ratings as if that's a thing. I hope ABC continues to hemorrhage money on this barely scraping a 4-share loser. What? Why do you hope that? You hope ABC... That's not even sincere. You liked it better when he wasn't going to be on the air, or you do like it better when he's on the air so that you can talk about how you would like it better if he was off the air and how his ratings aren't good enough. But, I mean, it's all just... And now here I am commenting on that, but I feel strongly about the free speech part of it. And I feel strongly about... Kimmel doesn't need to apologize to people who didn't understand a joke. You misinterpret what he said because you have blinders on and only... You're so focused on yourself and focused on your agenda that all you hear is what you want to hear, positive or negative. You're the problem. What's he going to apologize for? I apologize that you're not smart enough to understand what I'm saying. I apologize that you misinterpret this, that you politicize this, that you take this in the exact... This is exactly what he's talking about. This is exactly what he meant. And it continues afterward. It's like, all right, I'm back. As I was saying, this is garbage. It's garbage that happened, and it's also garbage that it's being kicked around in this way, in the conversation for political gain. That's the point. And then it continues. He lied. No, he didn't. Jack Posobiec. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I've seen his name before. I've never heard his name said out loud, but Posobiec. I know the name only in writing, so I don't know the correct way to pronounce it, and I apologize for that. A right-wing activist and friend of Kirk's wrote on X, in typical leftist fashion, Jimmy makes the victim himself. There was no apology. Correct. There's no apology. There's no apology for making a joke at the expense of you. The joke was about you, Jack. The joke was about you, Dana. The joke was about you, Donald Trump. The joke was not about Charlie Kirk or the guy who shot him. That's not what it was. And I say joke, the commentary. Like, it's a little bit funny. But it wasn't really meant to be funny. It was meant to be a commentary. So, there's a little, it's late night talk show. He's a comedian. There's a little bit of that. But mostly it wasn't that. Mostly it was watch how these people behave. Watch what's happening. Jimmy makes himself the victim. There was no apology. There's not going to be. Molly Hemingway, editor at conservative website The Federalist, said, no semblance of an apology. Fake tears. I'm on that one. Transparent attempt to deny and obfuscate assassin's political motivation. Nope. Didn't talk about political motivation. You're injecting that into the conversation. He didn't. His point is that you will do that, and you continue to do that. So that's what happened. You should watch it. I mean, regardless of how you feel about Kimmel or Trump or Charlie Kirk or jokes or free speech or any, I would recommend watching it. Add to the 10+ million people who've done so already. It was good. It was important, I think, television. It was a moment in broadcast history and American history. Like, what happens here when an administration tries to shut down a voice because it doesn't like that voice makes jokes about him? What happens? And then he gets back on the air a week later. So, it was... I care about broadcasting way more than I care about politics. But I was very interested, and I liked it. The fake tears thing, I'm with you on that one, Molly Hemingway. But the rest of it's garbage. And I don't even think fake tears. I think he's sad. But I think forced tears, it just... Is there a right way to say this? Is there a right way to say, I don't think it was fake, but I think it was in the script. You know, if you know you're going to be emotional about something, I think picture giving a eulogy, which thankfully I have not had to do. But giving a eulogy, I think you would, there are going to be jokes in there. This is essentially what it, this is off the top of my head, so bear with me. If it falls apart, it falls apart. But if you're giving a eulogy, you're gonna want to know about what you're going to say. You're going to make sure there are some jokes in there. There are some, even if not jokes, some smiles. There are going to be some pleasantries involved, obviously. You're there to pay tribute to someone who passed away and someone who you knew very well. I think if I were putting that together, and the way that I operate, I wouldn't like have a script, but I'd probably have like notes. It's like bullet points. And I would map out about the point where I would allow myself to feel what I was talking about. Because if I'm going to deliver the whole thing, I'm going to have to just block it out. Just block it out in my brain. Just disassociate my emotions from the words that are coming out of my mouth. But in order to make it real, I would give myself a window where I'm like, okay, at this point, I'll think about it a little. And at that point, I might get choked up. And, you never know. It might not work. But that would be my plan. And I think maybe that's probably, maybe that's what his plan was. Because it didn't seem fake, but it sure did seem like he hit a mark there. Like, I'm going to start with the joke of, as I was saying, that I'm going to talk about free speech and everything that happened. There's a lot of stuff to discuss from the week. And then I will allow myself to maybe fall apart a little bit. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is straight up fake. I don't think it was that. But I think, it's television. It's a presentation. It's a production. There are plans in place. He wasn't winging it. Maybe a good reason to be off for 5 days is it takes 5 days for him and a staff to come up with the perfect return monologue. It felt very well crafted by professionals, very well performed by a professional performer. The tears felt performative. So how did we get there? I don't know. That's my only issue with the whole thing. I thought it was good. I think you should watch it. I think you'll enjoy is the wrong word. I think you should see it. I think it'll be a thing that people talk about for a while. I mean, maybe it just goes away. Maybe Jimmy Kimmel just goes back to being a talk show host that we don't think about all the time. He's just there. And he's making his jokes, and he doesn't like the way things are going with the administration, so there will be shots at Trump, and then Trump will, the low-rated Jimmy Kimmel, like that. Maybe that'll just keep happening. But I have a feeling that, this is if I taught a college communications course, I took a lot of those, I would absolutely be using this thing. If we had an hour-and-a-half class today, a half an hour of it would be spent watching this and then discussing free speech, broadcasting, presentation, preparation, and all of it. That's what I would do with it. I'm hosting a show from my house, so this is what I'm doing with it. But I would use it. I would definitely use it as a professor. I think it's a moment. I might use it as a professor in a political science class. Certainly communication, certainly anything to do with broadcasting. Definitely there. But ethics, journalism, possibly just a regular old English class, definitely any sort of political science type of class. There are a lot of any sort of a speech class. I mean, it's a thing. I think at 28 minutes and 21 seconds, it's a little document of American history right there. Is it the Beatles playing the Ed Sullivan Show. I don't know. It's one of the biggest things that's happened in late night television in my memory. I'm trying to think of others. But that was, you knew it was coming. It's not just a moment that occurred. It was, all right, this all happened, and now you can hear the results. So there was appointment television. I wasn't there for the appointment, but you don't have to be because of YouTube. So go check it out. If you're wondering what I do during the break, that time I didn't get out of the chair at all. I just sat here. Sometimes I'm reading news stories. Sometimes I'm looking for audio clips. Sometimes, like, lots of different stuff happens. I mostly did the looking for stories thing, but by the end, what I was doing, so now that I'm doing the show on YouTube Live, now that there's a video element to the show, the screen right in front of me is like it's a whole like TV studio type of deal. And I could switch the thing over. So if you're watching right now, I've got a screen right here. That's where the TV part is. Up there is a screen that's got news stories and stuff. And then over there is the all the sound effects and all the songs and all the intros and big voice guy stuff and all. So that's all there. And I need all those things in front of me. I honestly could go for one more screen at this point, but I don't know. I haven't gotten to it yet. I want to kind of tear down and rebuild the whole setup at some point anyway. So adding a new, I want to add another monitor and probably add a camera, so that it's not just this thing that's right in front of me all the time. Because there are better things for me to look at than me. I mean, that's what I'm seeing right now. So on this screen right in front of me, on this side is preview. On the left, right there, is preview. And then on the right is broadcast, or program, I should say. So if I see my face on that screen, on that half of the screen, that means that's what you're seeing. You're seeing me trying to get this, whatever this is, out of my eye. All right. The camera is right here. Right there, right dead center at the top of the laptop screen. That one's a laptop. So that's my camera. I spent a good 44 seconds. I made that number up. But more than 30, less than 60 seconds. And then I thought probably closer to 30 than 60, so then I said 44 instead of 45, which would have been halfway. This is how I think. I spent so much time trying, so I stare at the camera. Like right now, I'm looking into the camera. It looks like I'm talking directly to you, right? I know that most of the time I don't do this because I'm either looking there, or just looking at my phone. That's over here. Looking at the little soundboard. That's over here. Dealing with the speakers. They're over there. But if I want to, if I'm doing this is intentional. I'm intentionally looking and talking at you. And I should do this more often. I know in the limited amount of television that I've done, when I'm doing like a talk show on TV type of thing, it's two guys sitting there talking, or three guys, and it's like a group. I'm on Sports Extra on Channel 2 or something. And the whole thing is I'm talking to Adam Benini sitting over there, or Ed Kilgore sitting over there, or whoever, we're talking. And then every now and then, turn and look at the camera, say a couple words, and then back to the conversation. It's just remember that it's there. Every now and then, remember it. So I'm practicing. Remember that it's there. How you doing, everybody? Great to see you. How are you today, sir? Oh, that, and like that, okay? This is only for the video crowd, but you get what I'm saying. I spent 44 seconds staring at the camera, practicing looking at the camera, and then looking over at the preview to see if I looked better when I was looking at the camera, but it's in real time. So by the time I'm looking not at the camera to see how I look looking in the camera, I'm no longer looking in the camera. I'm trying to fool a mirror, basically. I spent 44 seconds trying to trick a mirror. I thought, all right, well, maybe I got to go faster. I got to switch my focus faster from here to there. And every time I'd get over to there, my eyes were already not looking at the camera because it's in real time. I'm 50 years old. I'm a professional broadcaster. I spent the better part of a minute trying to race the speed of light with my eyes or something, failing miserably. It didn't work. So I'll have to go back and look at the video to see If you can tell, I think you can tell. You can tell right now that I'm looking into the camera. But if I'm right there, I'm not sure. Maybe you can't tell that I'm not looking into the camera. But I can. Ooh, all right, I'm seeing my eyes move. There's like no, we're back to nothing. If there's a little bit of a lag, I can see it. That's what I was doing. Preparing for the last 15 minutes of the show, I was trying to race my eyeballs against the speed of light and failing considerably, significantly. The mess. One of the stories I had on the screen is about a new movie that's being shot. They shot a movie once in my hometown. It's not really, well, part of it, City of Buffalo. But there's a new movie shooting in Western New York this October, which is very soon. We're at September 24th right now. Which is why we had to close the pool. The untitled Warner Brothers production will shoot in Hamburg, Eden, and the City of Buffalo this fall. Details are, there's not a lot. New movie in Hamburg, Eden, and City of Buffalo. One scene in Hamburg will reportedly involve a locomotive from Buffalo Southern and will be filmed at the Water Valley Train Bridge in early October. I don't know what that is, but if you're a Southtowns person, maybe you do. I bet Paul Peck knows. He's the king of Hamburg. Traffic patterns will be altered on South Creek Road and Stevens Road to accommodate filming. That's all we really know. And I started thinking, wait, hold on. I saw somewhere else that it's thought to be a horror film. Is there a second article about this? Here we go. The movie is still untitled, but is expected to be in the horror genre. Shooting is expected to take place over October and November. So then I thought, all right, horror film. I would say A Quiet Place is kind of a horror film that was shot locally, and Quiet Place 2. Or maybe it's just 2 that was shot locally, and not 1. I think that's probably right. Grand Island Bridges were involved. The village of Akron was involved. This campground place in Dunkirk, we were there the other day. We drove past it, and I said, I think that's where they shot the end part of the second Quiet Place. And I had my son look it up on his phone. He's like, yeah, that's it. Dunkirk Camp and Conference Center or something. I recognized it. He looked it up. It was right. So you're saying horror film. I'm immediately thinking Quiet Place. By the way, we watched the third Quiet Place movie. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. Zach, Nate, and I. We loved the first one. Loved the second one even more, I think, universally. Amongst the three of us, I think we all agree the second one was better than the first one. And then the third one, it was coming out. We were really excited about it. And we were going to go see it in the theater, and it just didn't happen. And now it's available digitally. So we sat down and watched it last week. About halfway through, I paused it because, I don't know, bathroom or get something to drink or whatever it was. Said, hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Paused it, sat back down, was about to hit play, and Zach's like, Dad, do you like this movie? I was like, no, I don't. He's like, yeah, it's terrible, right? And Nate's like, yeah, this sucks. We didn't like it at all. But we're halfway through. I said, all right, well, we don't have to keep watching it. We can watch something else, or you can go to bed. It doesn't really matter. I don't need to do this. I was leaving it on for you. And then it occurred to me that when you're watching A Quiet Place, which if you haven't seen these movies, there's very little talking, because if you talk, you die. If you talk, the aliens get you. They can't see, but they can hear really, really well, and they're mean. They're super mean. So it occurred to me that since there's not much talking, what we could do is leave the movie on and make fun of it. We're not going to miss anything by talking over silence. And that's what we did. And the second part of the movie, the second half, was much more enjoyable because we were laughing at it and making fun of it and saying, this doesn't make sense and that's stupid and why did that happen? And it was Mystery Science Theater 3000, except it was me and my two sons watching A Quiet Place. Anyway, so immediately thinking about a movie being shot locally and it being horror, I thought Quiet Place. But then I'm like, all right, Hamburg, Eden, City of Buffalo. Eden, Corn, Children of the Corn horror movie. Ooh, I bet it's Children of the Corn Fest or something. I bet they're making a sequel to the 1984 film Children of the Corn. That was horror. I don't know that I've ever seen the whole thing, but I can picture parts of it, and it was creepy as hell. And, it's 41 years ago. Seems about right that they'd maybe remake it or put out some other sequel. what better place to do Children of the Corn or Children of the Corn Fest, Children of the Corn 2, than Eden, New York? It'd be perfect. And then I thought, I wonder if there's already been a sequel to Children of the Corn. Play along with me, ladies and gentlemen. The American film Children of the Corn, the American short story Children of the Corn, written in 1977 or published in 1977, and written by Stephen King, was made into a movie by New World Pictures in 1984. All right, first question. Is there a sequel to Children of the Corn? Would I have gone this far if the answer was no? No, I would not have. All right, now here's the next question. How many film sequels are there to Children of the Corn? I'm going to give you a minute. There have been 10 sequels, 11 movies. Although, there's also a short film that appears to be related, so you might want to add that one in. Also, one of these is considered a remake, and one is considered a reboot. Also, it took 9 years before a sequel came out, so the first one came out in 84. I'm going to walk you through all of them. That's what we do here, because this is ridiculous. Ooh, this seems like Spooky Bed. This calls for Spooky Bed. I've had Spooky Bed in here forever. Not forever, for a month. I never get to play it. There you go. Spooky Bed. Yes. All right, we're going to walk through the Children of the Corn series right now. This does nothing to tell me whether the film being shot in Eden will have anything to do with the corn. Eden, Hamburg, and the city of Buffalo. All right, Children of the Corn, 1984. 1993, so 9 years later, Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice. That sounds terrible. That was The Final Sacrifice. There are like 9 more movies. But maybe they don't sacrifice in any of them. Maybe that's the situation. Something I don't like about the audio right now. All right, whatever, it's fine. 1995, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. Huh? It's corn, but it's in the city. Let's just come up with the pitches ourselves. Hey guys, I want to make another Children of the Corn movie. What's the twist? This time it's in the city. Get out of my office. That's the conversation, right? Listen, screenwriter Dodie B. Levinson. I don't think corn grows in cities. It's 95. It's too early for, Children of the Corn 3, Farmers Market, West Side Farmers Market. It's too early for that. All right. 1996. They're cranking them now. Took 9 years between 1 and 2, but now we're doing it every couple of years. This one's a year later. Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering. That's just giving up. The Gathering. Get out of here. Boring, lame, cliched horror name. 1998. Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. All right, now we're getting kind of funny. I get it. So, you're a horror franchise. You've done 5 episodes so far. They're all about corn. They're numbered 1. Well, the first one's never named number 1. It's not Jaws 1. It's not Rocky 1. It's just Rocky. Then they make more movies. But for the purpose of this, we'll call it 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a horror franchise. What's the name of your next movie? That's right. Children of the Corn 666. Isaac's Return. That's the one when Isaac came back. I don't know what that means. The 7th one is called Children of the Corn Revelation, because where do you go from there with the number? You think you got it all figured out by naming it 666. What's the next one called? 667? 777? I guess you could just go back to 7, but it's like when the Super Bowl decided to be Super Bowl 50, 50, instead of Roman numerals. Let's just dump the Roman numerals for a year. That was trash. All right, so the 7th one's called Children of the Corn Revelation. The 8th one released. Oh, wow. All right, we got a break here. So it was the 9th one came out in 99. Revelation came out in 01. I'm sorry, the 6th one came out in 99. 7th one came out in 01. Then it was 10 years until the next one, Children of the Corn Genesis. That sounds like a prequel, right? Going back to the beginning. Where did this all begin with the Children of the Corn? And then 7 years later, they came out with Children of the Corn Runaway. These all exist. These are real. Made by real, distributors. You're not made by a distributor, but New World Pictures, Dimension Films, Dimension Extreme, Lionsgate, Fox 21. All right, so that's all of them in the original series. There's also a remake in 09 called Children of the Corn. There's also a reboot in 2020 called Children of the Corn. At this point, I had to look up because I don't watch superhero movies, which leads me to not totally understand when people talk about remakes and reboots and what's the difference. So for the first time ever, I should probably know the difference between a remake and a reboot. Because you already made 9 of these movies. Why would you need a remake and a reboot? And why would those come 11 years apart? It doesn't totally make sense to me. But here's the difference. I've learned this. Now you've learned something too. I want you to learn something every time you listen to Writer Radio. I want you to learn this. A remake is a new telling of a single story or film, updating it with a new cast and modern elements. So you take Superman from the 70s, starring Christopher Reeve, and you just redo it, but it looks better because the technology is better. Special effects are better. People are better at flying now. No, I made that one up. That's not real, but you can make it look better. So you just do it again. Let's try it again. It'll be better. Reboot is, all right, we like these characters, kind of. We like the general vibe. But we've got new ideas for the story, so let's just start over. A reboot starts a new story and continuity, for an entire franchise, completely erasing or ignoring the previous installment's storylines and characters to reset the franchise. I now understand the difference between remake and reboot. Remake, we're just doing it again. Reboot is we're starting this thing over. And it makes sense. That's okay. But I've just never cared enough to look it up. So the fact that there was a reboot of Children of the Corn in 2020 tells me this could potentially be a sequel to the reboot of Children of the Corn. Otherwise, why are you shooting a horror movie in Eden, New York, only known for a corn festival? I think you're missing the point if you're coming here to do a movie and you're going to use Eden and you're not going to maximize that corn is right there to be exploited. Exploit the corn. Come to Western New York. Exploit the corn. Children of the Corn Fest. I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm putting it out there into the universe, trying to make it happen. All right, what else is on my screen? We're past noon, but I can turn off the spooky bed. I'll turn off the spooky bed. I want to not leave 17 things open on my screen today. We're going to clean it up, then we're going to wrap it up. All right. Are there other things that need to be discussed? Jackson Dart has been named the new starting quarterback. We talked about this Monday, that there was a chance it was coming soon. It might not be the best choice with Jameis Winston sitting there on the Giants too. But the Russell Wilson thing's not working. The Giants plan to bench Wilson and name Dart the team starting quarterback. First-round rookie who's already played a handful of snaps, makes his first start Sunday at MetLife Stadium. He played the other day. I saw one. I didn't see the whole game. But they brought him in. I was like, oh, they're going to give a series to Dart. We see this in college football a lot. Happens a lot when you've got, some seventh-year senior as your quarterback, but you've got a guy who's a redshirt freshman, and you want him to play a little bit of football. So they'll have a designed package for him, and they'll bring him in, and he'll get a series. They brought in Jackson Dart. He ran one play, and then he was back on the sideline. It was just weird. It says there was some internal debate, according to league sources, about waiting to make the change until Week 5 with a matchup against the 0-3 Saints on tap. However, the Giants ultimately elected to go with Dart now, believing he gives them the best chance to beat the Chargers. That decision to bench Wilson came days after the Giants' loss in their home opener to the Kansas City Chiefs, falling to 0-3. I mean, you weren't supposed to beat the Chiefs at 0-2, and I know the Chiefs were 0-2, and the game was there for the Giants, and if they showed up with a kicker, it's probably a whole different story. But instead, they lost their kicker during warm-ups, and they used a punter who it just didn't work out. They decided to forego a field goal on like a 4th and 3 pretty early because they weren't sure they could make it. They missed a field goal badly, or had one blocked. It's a lot of stuff. It was bad. The Chiefs looked terrible. The Giants actually looked all right, but they could have used better quarterback play for sure. And Scott and I talked about it on Monday. Both of us, I think, like the Jameis Winston idea. The Giants do not. So from the moments they selected Dart, the Giants have said they wanted to give him time to learn the NFL game from the sideline. Their hope was that Wilson could serve as the bridge quarterback while Dart learned the ins and outs of the pro game from the 36-year-old Super Bowl winner, as well as fellow backup quarterback Jameis Winston. Turned out to be a short bridge, as Wilson's career as a Giant starter lasted only 3 games, all losses. The decision to move to Dart came in somewhat bizarre fashion. As Brian Dable said Monday afternoon, the team was evaluating everything. When asked if Wilson would still be the team's starter in Week 4, by the time he typically speaks with reporters the day after games, he's usually committed to his QB decisions, but that was not the case on Monday. They say, to be fair, they did play Sunday Night Football, pushing back their typical schedule. Dable said he met with the team as usual and would go on to meet with the quarterback room. And then on Tuesday, they announced that Jackson Dart will start against the Chargers on Sunday, so that's fun. What is this one? Oh, okay. Lip reader adds to Chiefs controversy in Travis Kelce and Andy Reid spat. I haven't read this at all. I opened it up, or saved it, opened the tab, and had it just sitting here. This is just one of those ones we're going to rip through, see how it goes, and then move on. I've got, 8 more tabs open, so this could be a while, but some of them are garbage. Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. Where's the lip reading part? All right, what was said in sideline blow-up? Andy Reid and Travis Kelce were seen yelling at each other. More Kelce yelling than Reid yelling. He gets like that. You know how he is. You know how Travis can be. Kelce had yet another botched play in Sunday's game, out of position on a short pass over the middle from Mahomes that Chris Collinsworth said could have been made on the playground. Kelce simply failed to catch an easy toss. His ineptitude led to a televised sideline blow-up between the tight end and Reid, reminiscent of the confrontation between the player and the coach that took place during Super Bowl 58. That's where I've seen it before. It was on the Super Bowl. Now, as then, Reid dismissed the confrontation as actually a good thing because it showed juice on the part of Kelce. But in the moment, according to a forensic lip reader, Reid felt a bit more strongly about the Kelce situation. According to the lip reader, the coach shouted at his 4-time first-team All-Pro tight end, "Tell me why I shouldn't kick you off. How about that?" According to her website, she is a visionary entrepreneur and the driving force behind Lip Reader, a groundbreaking company specializing in lip reading and expert witness reports. As the founder of Lip Reader, Nicola has spearheaded the development of innovative technologies and services that empower individuals with hearing impairments. And also, watch football and figure out what people are saying on the sidelines. Tell me why I shouldn't kick you off. How about that? Yeah. Go get him, Andy Reid. All right, that story's not very exciting, but it was kind of fun. Tua is making confessions that prove Dolphins are in trouble. Just to be clear, is there a question about the Dolphins being in trouble? All right, I'm at finfanatic.com. I guess that makes sense. They're pretending they have a season to deal with here. What did Tua say? He's becoming his own worst enemy. Spoke with the media. Said he told Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to, quote, do their best to track the ball because they may have to stop. This came after he said he can't throw the ball 80 yards downfield. We knew that. A few days later, he made the comment that he can't do half of what Josh Allen does. Yep. Is that it? That's it? Those are the 2 quotes? That's stupid. Moving on. We already had the one about Josh. He was just being realistic. He actually came across as really genuine. It's like, yeah, that guy's awesome. I can't do that stuff. I'm trying. I can't do that. Southern Tier victim of license plate fraud gets visit from police. All right. Oh, don't start Pizza Hut me. Channel 4. This is a story from Channel 4. Speaking of Channel 4, they won an award for their story about Harley Field. Our friend George Davis's sort of Field of Dreams, Little League Park, Little League Diamond, up in Lockport area, Rapids, New York, he calls it. It's that part of town, Rapids, New York. Harley Field, there's a whole story about it. My son's team was playing when they were shooting the story, and then it came out months later, but it was really good. He's been on the show before. I'm sure he'll be on again. George just built this field in his yard, and it's awesome. And they just let kids play there. Little league teams go and play there, and it's great. And they did a story on it, and they won a New York State Broadcasters Association award for that story. And I don't know everyone who was involved in it, but my cousin Rich Ursing was one of the photographers on it. So congratulations to him and Channel 4 and George Davis and Harley Field for the award-winning story that included my kid and his friends, which is awesome. All right, this is from Channel 4 also. WIVB News 4's series on license plate fraud continues, hearing from a man from the Southern Tier who turned in his plates, but then was hit with thousands of dollars in fraudulent toll bills. And the family got a surprise visit from the police. He said, I knew something bad was going to happen at some point. They're not revealing this guy's identity. They're calling him Rob because his old license plate number could be part of an ongoing criminal investigation. In April of 23, he and his wife surrendered their plates to the DMV in Jamestown for the plates to be destroyed because they were peeling. Months later, they started getting toll violations in the mail for the New York City area tied to their old plate. Says, I was furious, but I was very curious as to why that was. They received toll bills from minor to excessive, from $13 to $515, all the way up to one bill for a whopping $4,564. Tolls from places they hadn't been to, like New Rochelle, and crossings such as the RFK Bridge and the Throgs Neck Bridge. Rob said that made us very nervous and a lot of sleepless nights. As the tolls piled up, they received one collection notice demanding payment. Said it makes you very nervous when you think that somebody's going to lock up your account or send you to small claims or wherever court. New York City's Department of Finance said the case was referred to them in May and that one ticket has been dismissed and 2 parking summonses have been flagged in their system as fraud. Plus, Rob and his wife's old plate number has been placed on the police department and sheriff's boot/tow list. The Metropolitan Transport Authority said all erroneous MTA tolls charged to them have been dismissed. They won't get any more bogus tolls. As for that collection notice, it was dropped. Situation involving Rob took a dramatic turn when they got a knock at the door several months ago from deputies with the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Jim Quattrone said police in Nassau County asked his office for help in investigating a car with Rob's old license plate that had been involved in a crime. Said his office helped connect Rob and Nassau County Police so Rob could explain the situation. Says the visit, something he'll never forget. It happened on his daughter's birthday. He says it was some sort of theft crime. It was a big crime from what they were saying. They stated that it was a theft of $250,000 linked to those plates. It's a crime he had nothing to do with. In one case, I did feel like it was going to lead to this. In another case, I thought it was like, now maybe someone will do something in regard to those plates. He thinks an investigation needs to be launched into the surrendering of license plates in Chautauqua County, saying, I think the investigation is good. I think they need to pass some laws to protect citizens that are doing their duty as far as turning these things in. Quattrone said he doesn't believe an investigation is needed into Chautauqua County's handling of license plates and that the proper procedures were followed. That's not true. Clearly the proper procedures were not followed if the plates are out there. News 4 reached out to Nassau County Police on what they were investigating but never heard back. Meanwhile, State Senator George Borrello has introduced legislation that, if approved, would increase penalties for those convicted of license plate fraud. I don't have anything to say on that story. I just thought it was interesting. And so I had left it open, and then I read it to you. I'm sorry, I'm not adding to it at all. This day in history I had open. Today in 1789, Supreme Court was established. How about that? Happy birthday to some great Americans. F. Scott Fitzgerald, John Marshall, who was the 4th Chief Justice of the U.S., who in 1803 established the court's authority to determine the constitutionality of laws. He's a big deal. And also Jim Henson of Muppet fame. So the 4th Chief Justice, the guy who wrote The Great Gatsby, and also the guy who brought us Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Big Bird and stuff, a puppeteer. Today is also the day in 1906 that President Teddy Roosevelt proclaimed Devil's Tower, a massive rock formation in Wyoming, as the country's first national monument. He called the lofty and isolated rock a natural wonder. Ain't that the truth? If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Devil's Tower, that massive rock formation in Wyoming, is lofty, isolated, and a natural wonder. I had the lyrics to Prince's Kiss open because I was hearing things. I've heard the song a million times. I like the song a lot. I don't know how often I've listened to it on headphones, and I've got headphones on, and I played Kiss, and I just started hearing lyrics I had not heard before. Like, I heard him mention From Dusk Till Dawn, and I wonder if the Robert Rodriguez movie was named after a quote from this song. I feel like maybe it was. I don't know that phrase from anywhere else. Maybe you got it from there. I knew the chorus. You don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign. I didn't know this. I'm more compatible with. Ain't no particular sign I'm more compatible with. I'm more compatible with. I've never heard those words, but they're in there. I just want your extra time and your kiss. The part that made me look up the lyrics is I'd never heard him say anything about the television show Dynasty before. But verse 3 is, women, not girls, rule my world. I said they rule my world. Act your age, mama, not your shoe size. Maybe we could do the twirl. You don't have to watch Dynasty to have an attitude, You just leave it all up to me. My love will be your food. He matched attitude with food. You don't have to watch Dynasty to have an attitude. That one was open just for me. Close. That's YouTube. I was looking at the Kimmel thing. Let's see what the count is on viewers on that.
Imagine being able to build
No,
an
I
app.
don't
with
want to
your
do
name on it.
that. I just want to see the counts. 11,356,671 views with 67,000 comments. Okay. Children of the Corn, we had that open. Reboot versus remake, we did that. We got through it. That's all the stuff. That's all the stuff I had open. Anything left on the sheet that I didn't talk about? Jackson Dart. Did the Colin Cowherd thing. Kimmel. Oh, I had a whole story about how a single bee descended upon my desk just before the show. And he looked drunk. Like he wasn't really flying. I don't know where he came from. Like, we don't have bees. It's weird to just see a bee in your house. It was just a bee. And he landed on my desk right there. I have a fly swatter right here. These things are great. One of the greatest inventions of all time. It's lightning quick. I recommend them. They're really cheap. Fly swatters are super cheap. They're very effective. So I had that. So I whacked this bee, but all I did was angered him. And he flew away, and then I took like several swings like this. And he landed on the light, but I couldn't smash him on the light. And then he got away. But he looked tired. He looked wounded before I even smacked him. I was here to execute. I was taking care of him with extreme prejudice. And I was ineffective. So he might be off telling his friends. They might be coming for me, and they might gang up on me if that happens. I'll just use the fly swatter, I guess. I'll deal with it. It'll be okay. Oh, boy. All right, we might have to do one more story. I didn't see this thing pop up until just now. Hold on. Open a new window. The follow-up to this link is Scott okay? Scott Wilson, who is our senior Hallmark correspondent. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hallmark movie star 35 died because Vegas restaurant staff halted CPR during medical emergency, and there's a lawsuit about it. Oh, boy. Should I save this for when Scott's on Friday? Hallmark star Mike Heslin died during his birthday trip to Las Vegas after restaurant staffers allegedly blocked CPR from being performed during his medical emergency, a new lawsuit claims. His husband, he's got a husband named Scotty Dynamo. That doesn't sound like he's in Hallmark movies. That sounds like he's in a different kind of movie. His husband, Scotty Dynamo, claimed in a new filing that staffers at Javier's at the Aria Hotel allowed an avoidable tragedy through multiple failures to provide emergency care. Scotty Dynamo claimed in the suit filed September 18th that the Lioness actor had exhibited obvious signs of a medical emergency, but the restaurant staff didn't do anything to help and even forcefully interfered with a nearby diner who attempted to perform CPR. I don't know that a restaurant is responsible for saving your life. Forcefully interfering, I'll listen to that. I'll listen to that part of it. I don't recognize this guy, and I've seen a bunch of these Hallmark movies. And I can't tell who's who. Which one's? All right, that's Mike. I don't recognize Mike. I don't recognize Scotty Dynamo. Heslin's friends also claimed the docs in the restaurant, or claimed in the documents, that the restaurant never even retrieved an automated external defibrillator, AED, during the medical emergency, despite having one on the property. They also alleged being forcefully removed from the resort during the incident. Restaurant staffers are accused of preventing other diners from helping Heslin, and his friends claim they were threatened with arrest for trying to provide aid, according to the lawsuit. That doesn't sound true. I mean, I don't know the story. I don't know these people. I can't imagine a restaurant was like, if you help that guy live, we're going to have you arrested. Like, I don't think that happened. Does that sound like something that could happen? It just, I mean, if it did happen, it's a major problem. That sounds fake, though. That sounds made up. His pals, this is bad. This is fraud. This sounds like that Smollett thing. Except, I mean, I'm not saying it's okay that the guy's dead, but his pals also claim they attempted to record the incident on their phones, but that staffers allegedly demanded that the videos be deleted, according to the documents. Okay. Unless I'm in a foreign prison, or I guess I could be held hostage domestically as well. I'm not going to delete something on my phone because somebody told me to, ever. They demanded I delete it, or what? You work at a restaurant. My buddy's dying. Sometimes something just doesn't sound true. This doesn't sound true. Restaurant worker, unless the implication is that this restaurant or this hotel, the Aria, conspired to murder Hallmark actor Mike Heslin, unless that's what you're saying, then none of this could be true. Oh yeah, we tried to save him, and they wouldn't let us. Then we tried to take video of it, and they made us delete it. But here's what we have. Here's what we claim. There's no way that's right. There's no way that's true. Fraud. The restaurant is being sued for 5 counts of wrongful death. That seems impossible too. There's only one guy. 5? This sounds trumped up charges. 5 counts of wrongful death, loss of consortium, negligence, negligent hiring, retention, training and supervision, and gross negligence. Dude, you're a restaurant. It's a restaurant. It's not a hospital. If this happens at a hospital, some sort of medical facility, that's different. The restaurant is being sued. All right. Heslin's spouse claimed his death was a direct and proximate result of defendant's acts and omissions, and is seeking damages in excess of $30,000, funeral expenses, and punitive damages. MGM Resorts International denied Dynamo's accusations via a statement on Monday. Says these claims are not aligned with the facts, and we will respond through the legal process. He did not immediately return the request for comment. Yeah, that sounds really fake. Michael was young, in perfect health, and the doctors have no explanation for what happened, he wrote at the time. When I felt you take your last breath, my heart shattered into a million pieces. If I had the power to trade places with you, I would do it in an instant. Yeah, okay, that's fine. You're allowed to be in love and be sad and stuff. There's no way the rest of that stuff happened. There's no way his pals attempted to film it and then restaurant staffers at gunpoint? Delete that right now, or what? Or what? No way this is true. I'm sure Scott will be fine. He might have thoughts on it. We're gonna have to talk to him about it. He's our senior Hallmark correspondent, and we're now down one Hallmark actor. All right. Thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it, Josh. The show's brought to you. It's on the screen all the time. And so I've been saying it less because it's always on the screen. But the show is brought to you by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. 20 years plus in the business as an independent insurance broker. And you don't even have to pay him. He just helps you transition from, specifically, his specialty is if you're approaching 65 and you're about to head into the Medicare world, he will help you navigate that, and you don't have to pay him. He just gets paid through insurance companies. So he just consults with you, makes your life easier, and I highly recommend looking into his services when you need them. I'm not saying everybody should call him today. I'm just saying, when you're thinking, hey, I could use some help with this insurance situation, that's your guy. He'll hook you up. All right, I'm done. That'll do it for the show. Thank you for listening. This has been episode 173. It'll all be online in podcast form, both the audio version that hits, well, no, you don't get the video part online. We stream live with the video. Here's the process, because this happened yesterday or the day before. We do the live stream. It's audio on Mixler, and then it's video on YouTube. Then the show ends, and then I stop both streams, and then I make the video stream private because I've been playing music that I'm not allowed to play in a podcast thing. So I make the video stream private on YouTube. And then within an hour or so, the audio version will be up on YouTube, minus all the music, because I stop the video thing, I edit the audio thing to get rid of the music, then I post that as a podcast through Spotify. That distributes it everywhere, and then it winds up on YouTube. Please go to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@WriterRadio. And subscribe, comment on things, all of that stuff. This is all about algorithms. I've been reading about this a lot and watching videos about it a lot. Conveniently, YouTube videos about YouTube videos, but, a little self-serving. But it's fine. I don't mind. But that's how it works. The more you go in and interact with what's happening, the better. And I am focusing. I'm going to keep doing the audio thing because I think this is an audio podcast primarily. I'm a radio host. I look way better on the radio than I do on TV or the internet. But I do recognize you need video stuff to get in the game. So the video thing's a part of it. There will be times when the video is missing or whatever, but I'm audio first. But if you want to look at it, you can live on YouTube daily, Monday through Friday, 10 to noon. But the process is live video, live audio. Then the show ends. Then I take down the video so you can't access it afterward. And my buddy actually was watching it. He's like, it's weird. I was in the middle of watching the show, and then it said the video's private. You can't watch it anymore. I was like, perfect. I just switched to private because that allows me to prevent any sort of copyright things. Because it's totally fine to stream music, but it's not all right to release it in podcast form because then I'm allowing you to download music, and that's illegal. So I'm working on all of it. But the process is video and audio are live, two separate things. YouTube one, that's audio video, and MixLR, what we've been using the whole time since episode 101. That's all there. Show ends. I take the Mixler recording. I get rid of the music. I put that on Spotify. That populates to everywhere, including YouTube, and replaces the live stream. So there's like a little window, a little gap between when the show ends and when you can hear the audio podcast. And right when that happens, then we shut down the video part. It's working so far. We're only, what is this, like 5 shows that I've done with the video thing? 6? Something like that? 7? I think I did it on a Friday. Then all of last week, and then this week. So maybe 8 times, 9 times. I don't know. But we're figuring it out. I even shot some video yesterday, like a different thing, because I can start incorporating other stuff into it now that there's a video element to the show. I'm working on it. But the bottom line is go to YouTube and like and subscribe and follow and do all this stuff. Just do the stuff. Oh, there's Brad. Thumbs up. Oh, there's Brad. Subscribe. Oh, there's Brad. Like, and that's if you see it on Facebook, if you see it on Instagram, whatever. YouTube Shorts. I got a bunch of YouTube Shorts up that I've been adding. Just like highlights from the show with AI video over them. Some of it cartoonish. Pretty cool, I think. But little by little, that's what we're doing. So all of it's brought to you by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. I'm done. Thanks for listening, watching, sharing, doing all the things. Thanks for helping. I appreciate the help. What song do we want to hear to close out the show? It's going to be one of the regulars, I think. No, not one of the regulars. All right. Thank you. I'll be back with you, episode 174 tomorrow at 10 o'clock, writerradio.com.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
Will you get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?